Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins History, coin lovers and treasure seekers. You've just stepped into another exciting adventure into the world of rare and valuable coins. Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating piece of American history, the United States Washington Quarter Dollar from 1972. At first glance, this coin may seem ordinary, one you've probably seen in change many times before. But let me tell you, certain versions of the 1972 Washington Quarter are far from ordinary. In fact, they can be worth a small fortune if you're lucky enough to have the right one in your hands. So grab a seat, stay tuned until the end, and you'll discover exactly why this simple 25-cent piece could be worth thousands of dollars today. To understand why the 1972 Washington Quarter holds such interest for collectors, we need to travel back in time. The Washington Quarter was first minted in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. By 1972, the coin had already become a staple in everyday commerce across the United States. But the magic of coins is that even among millions minted, not all are created equal. Small differences in strike, design, or condition can turn what looks like a common quarter into a treasure worth serious money. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1972 Washington Quarter. On the obverse, you'll see the proud profile of America's first president, George Washington, facing left. The word "Liberty" arches above his head, and the famous motto, "In God We Trust," sits prominently just to the side. The date, 1972, is struck at the bottom. This design has long been a symbol of strength, leadership, and the founding spirit of the nation. On the reverse, you'll find the majestic American eagle, wings spread wide, perched upon a bundle of arrows, a timeless symbol of both peace and readiness for defense. Surrounding the eagle are olive branches, representing peace and prosperity. This artistry not only reflects national pride but also makes the Washington Quarter a classic piece of Americana. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1972 quarter special for collectors. The truth is, millions were minted that year, which means most are only worth face value. However, the condition of the coin and the possibility of minting errors make all the difference. Quarters that were heavily used in circulation generally show scratches, wear, and fading detail, which lowers their value. But if you come across a 1972 Washington Quarter in mint state condition, bright, shiny, and untouched by daily use, you might just be looking at a coin worth far more than pocket change. Collectors particularly prize coins that have been graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC. A high-grade coin with sharp details and no visible flaws can fetch significant sums in auctions. Even more exciting are the error coins. Some 1972 Washington Quarters were struck with slight misalignments, doubled dies, or planchet flaws. These kinds of errors make a coin unique, and uniqueness in the world of coin collecting always translates to higher value. Imagine holding a quarter in your hand that looks like any other, but upon closer inspection, you notice doubled lettering or an off-center strike. That's when you know you've stumbled onto something rare. Another factor that influences the value of these coins is whether they came from the Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco Mint. Each mint has its own history of striking coins, and sometimes, one mint's output is scarcer than another's. For example, proof versions of the 1972 quarter minted in San Francisco are especially prized by collectors because they were struck with extra care, resulting in sharp, mirror-like surfaces that shine brilliantly. These proofs were not meant for circulation, so finding one in pristine condition makes it even more desirable. But why do collectors get so excited about coins like the 1972 Washington Quarter? Beyond their face value, coins are tiny time machines. They tell stories of history, culture, and national pride. They've passed through the hands of countless people, traveled through cities and towns, and yet, some survive decades in almost perfect condition. That combination of rarity, history, and condition is what drives collectors to pay incredible sums for what others might overlook. So, what does all this mean for you? If you have a stash of old coins lying around, it's time to start checking them carefully. Pay close attention to the details, the mint mark, the sharpness of the design, and whether there are any visible errors. Even the smallest flaw or unique marking can transform an ordinary quarter into a collector's prize. Many people have discovered that the coins rattling in their jars or tucked away in old drawers are worth far more than they ever imagined, and now comes the part you've been waiting for, the value reveal. While most 1972 Washington quarters are only worth 25 cents, a rare few in exceptional condition, especially with minting errors, have stunned collectors at auctions. Believe it or not, one of these coins has reached an incredible value of $45,800, yes, you heard that right, $45,800 for a single Washington quarter dollar from 1972. That's the kind of discovery that turns an everyday object into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. So, the next time you come across a quarter, don't just assume it's worth pocket change. Take a closer look, you might just be holding a hidden fortune in your hands. Today, we're going to explore one of the most fascinating coins from American history, the United States Washington quarter dollar from 1973. Now, you may have seen hundreds of quarters in your lifetime, but this particular year hides some incredible surprises that can make an ordinary-looking coin worth a fortune. Stay with me until the end, because I'll reveal just how much a rare 1973 Washington quarter can be worth today. The Washington quarter has a long and iconic story. First introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, it quickly became one of the most familiar and widely used coins in America. By the year 1973, the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for over 4 decades, and it was firmly established as part of everyday American life. People used these coins for bus rides, grocery stores, newspapers, and just about every kind of purchase. But while millions of quarters were minted that year, not every single one is the same. Some 1973 quarters carry unique features and conditions that separate them from the rest and turn them into treasures for collectors. Let's start by taking a closer look at the design. On the front side, you'll see the classic portrait of George Washington, facing left with a strong and dignified expression. Above his head is the word Liberty, and just to the left is the national motto, "In God We Trust." At the bottom, stamped boldly, is the year 1973. The design is simple but powerful, representing freedom, leadership, and the enduring values of the United States. Flip the coin over and you'll see the American eagle, wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows, ready to defend the nation. Beneath the eagle is a wreath of olive branches, symbolizing peace. Together, the obverse and reverse designs make this coin not just currency, but a symbol of American pride and strength. Now here's where things get exciting. In 1973, Washington quarters were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint produced millions of coins, but collectors are especially interested in coins that stand out due to their condition, their mint mark, or rare minting errors. Coins that circulated heavily usually lost their luster. They show scratches, wear, and faded details, which lowers their value. But uncirculated coins, those that still shine as if they were minted yesterday, are the true stars in the eyes of collectors. Grading plays a huge role in determining value. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC examine every detail under magnification and assign grades based on sharpness, shine, and overall preservation. The difference between a well-worn coin and one in mint state condition can be thousands of dollars. And then, of course, there are the proof coins. Proof quarters from 1973, struck at the San Francisco Mint, were made with extra care. Their mirror-like surfaces and sharp details make them highly collectible. These proof coins weren't meant to be used in everyday transactions, they were created for collectors, and when kept in pristine condition, they can fetch impressive prices, but it doesn't stop there. Error coins are another reason why 1973 Washington quarters are sought after. Imagine finding a quarter where the design looks doubled, or where the strike is slightly off-center, or maybe even where the planchet, the blank piece of metal used to strike the coin, was flawed. These errors make each coin unique, and in the coin collecting world, uniqueness equals value. People love owning something rare that no one else has, and error coins provide exactly that opportunity. Think about it, millions of 1973 quarters have been spent on everything from gas station snacks to movie tickets. But tucked away among those millions are coins that never saw heavy circulation, coins that still shine bright, or coins with unusual minting mistakes. That's what makes coin hunting so thrilling. You never know when an ordinary-looking quarter might actually be a hidden jackpot. Another factor collectors look for is the mint mark. Coins struck in Denver bear a small D below the date. Those from San Francisco carry an S, and Philadelphia coins from this year don't have a mint mark at all. Sometimes, coins from one mint can be harder to find in higher grades, which can also boost their value on the collector's market. All of this builds to one simple but powerful truth: the 1973 Washington quarter isn't just a piece of change, it's a window into history, a piece of art, and potentially, a ticket to life-changing money. Every coin tells a story, and the 1973 quarter's story is filled with the possibility of turning pocket change into treasure. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for. While most 1973 Washington quarters are only worth face value, the rarest ones, those in exceptional condition, graded at the highest levels, or struck with minting errors, have stunned the collecting world. One of these remarkable coins has reached a value of $47,400. Yes, you heard that correctly, $47,400 for a single Washington quarter dollar from 1973. The next time you're sifting through loose change, remember this story. Take a close look at your coins, check the year, inspect the details, and you might just discover a hidden gem. That small quarter in your hand could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Today, we are about to dive into the world of the United States Washington quarter dollar from 1974. At first glance, this 25-cent piece might look ordinary, something you've seen countless times in pocket change. But as we'll uncover, the 1974 Washington quarter has fascinating details, history, and hidden value that makes it one of the most exciting coins for collectors. And make sure you stick around to the very end, because you'll want to hear just how much one of these coins has sold for. The Washington quarter had already been a part of American life for decades by the time 1974 came around. First introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington on his 200th birthday, the coin became so popular that it was never retired. Through the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, it was everywhere, from corner stores to movie theaters to gas stations. By 1974, the quarter was a trusted piece of currency, used in millions of transactions every single day. Yet hidden within those millions are the rare gems that collectors dream about. Let's take a closer look at the design. On the front side, or obverse, the coin proudly displays the left-facing profile of George Washington, the nation's first president. His portrait is strong and timeless, with the word liberty above and the phrase "In God We Trust" beside him. At the bottom rests the date, 1974, which for us is the magic year. On the reverse, the majestic American eagle spreads its wings wide as it perches on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing the country's readiness to defend itself. Below, olive branches frame the eagle, representing the nation's desire for peace. This design wasn't just a symbol of money, it was a daily reminder of America's history and values. Now, what makes the 1974 Washington quarter so interesting to collectors? The first factor is condition. Most coins from that year were used in everyday commerce. They bought candy, bus tickets, sodas, and newspapers. As a result, they show scratches, wear, and fading, which lowers their value. But when you find one that has been preserved in near-perfect condition, known as uncirculated or mint state, that's when the magic happens. Those coins, untouched by time and hands, hold the greatest value. Professional grading services like NGC and PCGS carefully examine these coins under magnification and assign them grades based on their condition. The difference between a quarter in average circulated condition and one in flawless mint state can be staggering, sometimes turning a common coin into one worth thousands. Collectors pay big money for coins with sharp details, brilliant luster, and no signs of wear. Another fascinating piece of the 1974 Washington quarter story is the presence of proof coins. These were struck at the San Francisco Mint with incredible attention to detail. Proof coins have mirror-like surfaces and frosted designs that shine brilliantly under the light. They were never meant for circulation and were instead created for collectors. When kept in pristine condition, these proof coins become treasures highly prized in the collecting world, but let's not forget one of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting: minting errors. Mistakes made during the minting process often result in coins that are one of a kind. For the 1974 Washington quarter, collectors hunt for double dies, off-center strikes, and planchet errors. A double die could show extra lines on the lettering or numbers. An off-center strike makes the design appear shifted, with part of the coin left blank. A planchet error means the coin may have been struck on the wrong type of metal. Each of these mistakes turns a regular coin into a unique collector's piece, often commanding impressive prices at auction. It's also important to note where the coin was minted. In 1974, Washington quarters came from Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The mint marks, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or none for Philadelphia, can affect a coin's rarity and desirability. Certain mintages are scarcer in high grades, which means collectors will pay even more to add them to their collections. What makes coin collecting so exciting is that every coin tells a story. The 1974 Washington quarter represents a piece of American life during the 1970s. Think about it, this was the decade of historic cultural changes, political challenges, and economic shifts. Quarters from this year circulated through all of it, connecting people across the country. And yet, while most of those coins ended up scratched and worn, a handful survived in immaculate condition, waiting for someone to discover their true worth. Imagine holding a 1974 Washington quarter in your hand. To the casual eye, it's just a piece of pocket change. But to a collector, it could be a dazzling prize, shiny, flawless, and rare. That's what makes the hunt so thrilling. You never know when a coin in your collection, or even one hiding in a jar of spare change, could turn out to be worth thousands. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the value reveal. While the majority of 1974 Washington quarters are worth only their face value of 25 cents, the rarest examples in mint state condition or with extraordinary errors have reached breathtaking values. One such coin has been valued at an incredible $48,900. Yes, you heard that correctly. $48,900 for a single Washington quarter dollar from 1974.so. The next time you're going through your coins, don't overlook that ordinary-looking quarter. Take a closer look. It might not just be change, it might be a treasure waiting to be discovered. Today, we're shining a spotlight on a classic piece of American currency, the United States Washington quarter dollar from 1978. At first glance, this might look like the same coin you've seen countless times in your pocket or change jar. But don't be fooled, this quarter has stories to tell, secrets to reveal, and in some cases, a jaw-dropping value that will leave you stunned. Stay tuned until the end, because I'll reveal just how much one of these coins has sold for in pristine condition. Let's begin by looking at the historical backdrop of 1978. This was a time when the United States was experiencing cultural shifts, economic challenges, and moments that defined an entire generation. Gasoline shortages, new music trends, and changes in technology were shaping daily life. Through it all, quarters were circulating widely, passing from hand to hand as people bought groceries, filled up at the gas station, or played arcade machines. The Washington quarter was a part of all of that daily life, quietly carrying history in its metallic design. Now let's take a closer look at the coin itself. On the obverse, or front, you'll see the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. Washington's profile faces left with the word Liberty above, the national motto "In God We Trust" to the left, and the year 1978 stamped boldly below. This portrait has become one of the most recognizable designs in American coinage, representing leadership, strength, and independence. On the reverse, the majestic bald eagle spreads its wings as it perches on a bundle of arrows, with olive branches beneath symbolizing peace. The eagle design reflects both the power and the peaceful aspirations of the United States, making this coin not just money, but a symbol of national pride. By 1978, the quarter was struck in copper-nickel clad rather than silver, a change that had been in place since the mid-1960s. While silver coins carried intrinsic value because of their metal content, the copper-nickel quarters depended on rarity, condition, and unique features to stand out. This is exactly why certain 1978 Washington quarters can be worth far more than 25 cents. Collectors pay close attention to condition. Most quarters from 1978 circulated heavily. They clinked in cash registers, rattled in pockets, and sat in vending machines. As a result, they show scratches, fading, and dullness. But every so often, a quarter from that year managed to avoid the wear and tear of circulation. These uncirculated or mint state coins still shine with brilliant luster, sharp details, and a crisp strike. Coins like these are the ones collectors chase after, because condition is everything when it comes to determining value. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC carefully evaluate coins to assign a grade. A 1978 Washington quarter that grades at the highest levels, such as MS 66 or higher, can skyrocket in value compared to one that shows even minor wear. The difference between a coin that looks good and one that looks perfect can be thousands of dollars at auction, but condition isn't the only factor. Error coins are another exciting area of collecting. In 1978, some quarters were struck with fascinating minting mistakes. These include double dies, where letters or numbers look double due to a flaw in the die-making process. Others show off-center strikes, where the design doesn't land properly on the coin's surface, leaving part of the coin blank. There are also planchet errors, where the coin may have been struck on a piece of metal meant for another denomination. Each of these unusual flaws makes a coin unique, and collectors love unique coins. Error quarters from 1978 are among the most sought-after pieces and can command impressive premiums. Mint marks also matter. In 1978, Washington quarters were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia quarters from this era did not carry a mint mark, while Denver coins have a D, and San Francisco coins bear an S. Proof coins from San Francisco, with their mirror-like surfaces and sharp detail, are especially desirable when kept in flawless condition. These proof coins were intended for collectors and never released into regular circulation, making them treasures when preserved carefully. What makes the 1978 quarter so intriguing is that it bridges a time in American history between older, silver-based coins and the modern coinage we know today. It may not be silver, but it carries with it the stories of countless transactions, the artistry of its design, and the chance that it could be something extraordinary hiding in plain sight. Think about it, you might have a 1978 quarter sitting in an old jar, tucked away in a drawer, or mixed in with other change. To most people, it's worth 25 cents. But to a collector, if it's in pristine condition or carries a rare error, it could be worth thousands. That's the thrill of coin collecting, the possibility that a common-looking coin might actually be a hidden treasure. And now for the part you've been waiting for, the value reveal. While most 1978 Washington quarters are worth face value, certain rare examples in exceptional condition or with striking minting errors have shocked the collecting world. One of these extraordinary coins has been valued at an incredible $40,500. Yes, you heard that right, $40,500 for a single Washington quarter dollar from 1978. The next time you see a quarter from this year, don't dismiss it. Take a close look at the details, check for mint marks, inspect for errors, and pay attention to its condition. That ordinary-looking coin in your pocket could turn out to be worth a small fortune. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into a fascinating piece of American coinage, the United States Washington quarter dollar from 1979. At first glance, this coin may look like an ordinary 25-cent piece, something you might toss into a vending machine or drop into a jar of loose change. But as you'll see, the 1979 Washington quarter has stories, secrets, and potential value that could make it one of the most exciting coins in your collection. Stay tuned until the very end, because the final number I'm going to share with you will absolutely amaze you. To appreciate why the 1979 Washington quarter is special, let's start with a bit of history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932, designed to honor the 200th birthday of the first President of the United States, George Washington. Over the years, the design became so beloved and practical that it stayed in production for decades. By the late 1970s, this coin was already a familiar piece of everyday life. In 1979 specifically, the United States was going through economic challenges, rising inflation, and cultural changes that shaped a new era. Through all of this, the Washington quarter continued to circulate, touching millions of hands each day. Yet, hidden among those millions are rare survivors and special versions that collectors seek with passion. Now let's take a close look at the design. On the obverse, or front, of the 1979 quarter, we see the portrait of George Washington, facing left. His image is bold and commanding, representing leadership, courage, and the founding values of America. Above his head is the word liberty, and to his left is the national motto, "In God We Trust." Beneath his neckline lies the date, 1979, forever marking this coin in history. On the reverse, we find the powerful image of the American eagle, wings spread wide, standing tall on a bundle of arrows, surrounded by olive branches. The arrows symbolize strength and defense, while the olive branches remind us of peace. This combination makes the Washington quarter not just a tool of commerce, but a small piece of art carrying America's story. What makes the 1979 quarter especially interesting to collectors is its condition and its minting varieties. Most of the coins produced in this year were used heavily in daily life. They were jingled in pockets, rubbed against other coins, scraped by cash registers, and spent countless times. Naturally, this led to scratches, fading, and wear. A circulated 1979 quarter is usually only worth its face value of 25 cents. But the real treasures are those rare coins that survived without going into circulation, mint state examples that look as fresh today as the day they were struck. These coins gleam with luster, display sharp details, and show no signs of wear, making them incredibly desirable to collectors. Professional grading is the key to determining a coin's true worth. Services like PCGS and NGC grade coins on a scale, with the highest grades reserved for coins that are virtually flawless. A 1979 Washington quarter graded at MS 66, MS 67, or higher can bring astonishing prices at auctions. The difference between a well-worn coin and a perfectly preserved one is enormous, and this is where collectors are willing to pay thousands of dollars. Another factor that sparks collector interest is the mint mark. In 1979, Washington quarters were struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia carry no mint mark, Denver coins feature a small D, and San Francisco coins are marked with an S. Proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint are especially prized. These proofs were struck with polished dies, resulting in mirror-like fields and frosted details. They were made for collectors, not circulation, and when kept in pristine condition, they can become very valuable. Error coins are another exciting aspect of the 1979 Washington quarter story. Errors can include double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and even coins struck on the wrong type of metal. These mistakes are rare, and each one is unique. Collectors love error coins because no two are exactly the same, making them one-of-a-kind treasures. A 1979 quarter with a dramatic error can sell for far more than a regular example, adding to the thrill of searching through old coins. Let's also consider the broader context of 1979. This was the year the Susan B. Anthony dollar was introduced, which sometimes caused confusion in vending machines and cash registers because it was similar in size to the quarter. The quarter itself remained unchanged in design, but its role in American commerce was just as strong. Every transaction, from a payphone call to a bag of chips from a vending machine, depended on quarters. Imagine how many of these coins circulated through millions of lives in that year, carrying with them stories of everyday America. Now picture this: you're sorting through a jar of old change, and suddenly you spot a 1979 quarter. To most people, it's nothing more than pocket change. But with a careful eye, you notice it's in near-perfect condition, maybe even a proof coin or an error strike. At that moment, what seemed ordinary transforms into something extraordinary. That's the magic of coin collecting, the thrill of discovery and the possibility that something small and overlooked could hold incredible value. And now we come to the part you've been waiting for, the value reveal. While the majority of 1979 Washington quarters are worth only face value, the rarest examples in stunning condition or with extraordinary minting errors have stunned collectors at auctions. One of these remarkable coins has reached an incredible value of $43,800, yes, you heard that correctly, $43,800 for a single Washington quarter dollar from 1979. The next time you come across a quarter from this year, don't be too quick to spend it. Take a closer look, check its details, and examine its condition. You never know, you might be holding a small piece of American history worth a life-changing amount of money. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the story of the 1979 Washington quarter, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next adventure into the world of rare and valuable coins. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting.